Today we are going to see Adobe Lightroom. It's a software, multi-platform software. It can work in both PC, Mac, iPad, iMac, Android, all the phones also, tab also, everywhere. It is a it's a simple photo editing program. It is a perfect photo editing program. The photographers were wishing all these days because the Photoshop in PC or Mac, it is so heavy. It needs a heavy, huge hardware specification, and it requires a steep learning curve. Any novice can damage a photograph in no time. That's why in big corporate houses, they don't allow everybody to touch Photoshop. It is handled by some specialists, a few specialists in production houses who can really operate Photoshop, and they are allowed to do image editing. Now the question comes, who should be using Photoshop and who should be using Lightroom? The Lightroom is for every photographers who can give some life to their photograph. It gives them a chance to correct their mistakes while photographing. The profession had lot of respect before because it is directly going through film stages, film negative and positive stages. Nobody is able to touch that things. Original remains as it is. Now in a digital age, anybody can tamper with a Photoshop file and damage it in the output stage. So the total control will be with the Photoshop photographers if they use this program and to deliver a final result. Adobe Lightroom is the best photo editing software. Almost over 50 image editing softwares are available in the market. Many are coming, many are going, but Adobe remains steady. And it came from Adobe to isolate this technical people, creative people from production people. Lightroom is the best photo editing software, especially for photographers. Lightroom has tools exactly that photographers needed. Lightroom helps to manage and edit the entire collection of photos in one place. It helps to organize the photographs on both computer and in mobile or in web. Every edit you make in Lightroom is non-destructive. It allows you to experiment with your photos and revert to the original. In Photoshop, before they receive the file only, it will be tampered because if somebody is doing correction job, they will be creating some 10-20 layers, and each layer has some adjustment factors, mask, path, and everything. Anybody can do something to the correction factors and nobody can notice it. Here in Lightroom, everything is within the control of the photographer. If he is delivering a photograph, it will be 100% his own creation. Only last 5 to 8 years, Photoshop has become the tool of choice for many photographers. And it is only in the past few years after getting camera raw import function. All the cameras are capturing images in raw format, and Photoshop was not having raw format import facility until recently. The raw format, it captures all the aspects, and it, while saving, it is converting itself to a low profile JPG format. That is what we are getting from the photographers now. The raw file editing, it is an inbuilt in Lightroom. The digital cameras are not working as as like analog cameras, the film cameras. The sensor and the image capturing mechanism, everything is different from film or print or our scanners. The raw file format, it is not raw, it's not an extension, it is a true, it is called digital negative. The raw file is digital negative. The cameras capture the moments in raw format and apply their own effects to show it to the customers. Every camera is having some kind of manipulative mechanism. Let me show some of this. This is the typical control dial of a camera, program, auto, manual, things like that. It is giving AV, TV, portrait, close-up, distance, things, and digital cameras. They come up with this kind of control. Light setting, it is adjusted electronically. ISO setting, it is all through software. Brightness, contrast, everything controlled through software. It's not the camera's native function. ISO, it is the sensitivity of the sensor. It is controlled electronically. This is the typical viewfinder in a camera. This gives the aperture, this gives the film speed, this gives the shutter. In digital photographs, all these informations are stored, and if it is in raw format, it can be retrieved for future editing, and our Lightroom saves this information as a database. All these things, it is our manipulation by the digital camera. It is not the native format. Natively, the sensor records an image. Whatever is it getting, it is recording, and the camera is manipulating all this thing. That Lightroom can very easily do it in a big monitor. Sunny, cloudy, fluorescent, color, temperature, and all. The camera sensor cannot understand. Adobe Lightroom imports all the photoshops, all the photographs, and organizes them, cataloging them as a backup. The original will remain intact. It applies keywords, GPS information, date, exposure, camera shutter speed, aperture, all the information, geographic information from the location also it can record through the camera. It comes with the camera. It makes a complete database. It is in database format. When you search, you are searching the database, not the real photographs. In thousands of photographs, you can locate a particular photograph within seconds. Not only that, after importing, even if the function data are not there, after importing, it gathers all these informations. It even detects people's face and groups them in a particular folder. It organizes date-wise and object-wise. If it is human beings available, it detects the face and organizes them in a separate folder. Lightroom has some modules: library, develop, map, book, slideshow, print, and web. Not only organizes the image but also inserts copyright information in the image. Nobody can steal an image and use it and get away with it. It can, by search, you can identify the images stolen from the net or anything. It is very secure. It is a cross-platform 64 Raspberry architecture platform for Mac OS and Windows. Lightroom supports video DSLR, and it can interact with most digital SLR cameras. It can add watermark, embedding the logo, text or picture, adjust the size, position and transparency, correcting the perspective, flexible print settings, lens correction, lens error correction, barrel distortion or pin cushion distortion. It is the common factor in any lens. Chromatic aberration, that is the extra color fringe around the objects. Vignetting, lens vignetting. All these problems can be corrected here. Uploading to internet, any application, Flickr or Facebook, it can directly upload from here. And when you add comments to the pictures, these messages are instantly displayed in the library Adobe Photoshop Lightroom next to the corresponding photos. Lightroom can create a slideshow with music, and it can be shared across any platform. In short, it is a replacement for film for photography. It is an extension of film. After recording the photograph, Lightroom gives real life to the photograph. Since it is available for both PC and Mac, exactly the same, let us see how it is performing in Mac, because the Mac gives extra advantage of the screen resolution, and the calibration is very important. When you work on any photograph, you make sure that your screen is calibrated. Calibration means electronically it can communicate with the application and the monitor hardware, and as well as software. It has to synchronize. Windows have given some facility for calibration, but nobody bothers. But Mac, since the hardware and software is handled by a single company, somewhat it is acceptable. It nearly calibrated Mac monitors. So let me show you all the manipulations in Mac platform.